Hello, good morning, everyone. So I changed the show last second. I decided that I want to do a solo show because I haven't done one in a while. It's been a second. And the reason why I decided this last minute is today's actually my birthday. So I just thought I'd put something out, and I really want to talk about a lot of things that's kind of been going on in my life and what I've learned, really specifically, not just over the past year, but over the past 34 years. I'm 34 years old today, so that's kind of crazy. But one thing that uh, was popping up a lot for me yesterday was I was talking to somebody about going all in on something, and I was just saying, and I was talking about going all in on life, relationships, and giving all your energy to someone else. And I was saying, or to something else, and I was saying that, I feel like I'm oftentimes just left drained. I got to learn how to make sure that instead of continuously giving everything to someone else, that I make sure to remember to give to myself. And as soon as I said that, what he told me was never feel regret for that. Never feel bad. Never feel shame for going all in and putting in all of your energy into something. He was like, because my brother, that's just who you are. That's what you are. That's what you do. And that's how you help people grow. So while, yes, it's true that you should be putting all the energy or putting energy into yourself, at the same time, make sure that when you do that, you go all in. You go all in, just the same way that you would go all in for somebody else. Go all in that way for yourself. And it was truly profound for me because I do like to go all in for people. I love helping people. I love talking to people. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I feel like oftentimes I would simply just not do the same for myself. I make sure that everyone else's needs were met instead of making sure that my needs were met. And we delve into the conversation of, a lot of you are familiar with have your cup full first before you fill someone else's cup. And then you fill them with your overflow, you fill them with your saucer. Let's go back to that because I feel like a lot of people don't really know where that saying comes from. That saying is actually a reference to when you pour someone a cup of tea. You have your I don't have a teacup or a saucer around me. This is really spontaneous. But when you would pour someone a cup of tea, what would happen is you have your saucer and you have this is gonna be my cup. And, you pour into the cup and you continuously fill up the cup until that plate on the bottom is filled. So you wouldn't hand someone your cup because that's the cup that you drink out of. What you hand them is the saucer, you hand them the plate on the bottom, and then they can drink from that. And this, references to your cup literally having to overfill to fill the plate behind it. And when the person needs more, you put the teacup or whatever back on top of the saucer, the plate, and you fill it up with more tea. And then so on so forth. And you repeat that process. And that's how you feed people from your saucer. So when we look at that from a physical, metaphysical, spiritual perspective, we're talking about filling yourself up so much that you overflow with energy, you overflow with light. For many years, I did that. The issue that it's not an issue, but the thing that I learned is it's very important to go back and refill that cup and make sure that you're continuously filling that cup. So what I would say that I learned over the past years is instead of going back to fill the cup, if that makes sense, continuously fill that cup. Continuously take time out to reassess to make sure that I'm giving myself all, that I'm giving myself everything that I can, and that I'm putting in the same amount of energy, the same amount of work that I would for another person, for another activity, for another group. So with that being said, the other thing that really popped up is I have a subconscious tendency to say, well, we'll see where that goes. You know, we'll see what happens. And, I've learned that a lot of people do this. I know that a lot of my family members do it, so that's perhaps where I got it from. I was talking to one of my aunts about it yesterday, aunties. So I was like, let me say aunties because I said aunt to somebody and they're like, oh, you are from the South. So that's not even country. I'll show you country. But yes, I was talking to one of my aunts about it, not about anything in particular. She just mentioned, well, we'll see how that goes. And I think that's interesting because if you're constantly saying, well, we'll see what happens, we'll see where that goes, you're still leaving so much up to chance. And you're really not being all in and present in your own thought and in what it is that you're attempting to manifest, which you're claiming that you want to bring into reality. Because simply by saying, we'll see where that goes, you're not particularly taking control. And we talk a lot in spirituality and metaphysics and, people call the new age movement about taking back your energy and taking control of your life and circumstances. But in the same breath, will easily and freely give that up and say, "Well, we'll see." And there's something to be said about that as well. There's something to be said about not having such strict expectations of things, not being so rigid about things that you're unable to completely manifest and bring things into your life because you have these strict parameters. And I know as I've gone through, my journey in spirituality and metaphysics, it's always been let go and let God. Let go and allow the universe, allow the synchronicities to fall into play. But the thing about synchronicities falling into play, and I remember watching, I think it might have been Bashar, maybe it wasn't Bashar. There's an individual on YouTube or TikTok, can't get his name right now, and they were talking about synchronicities. And in order for the synchronicities to happen, you have to put yourself in a position for those synchronicities to happen. So that would be like saying, I want to run into someone, or I'm going to run into somebody that's going to help me with the business, that's going to help me with the resort that I'm building, that's going to help me um, just become a CEO and become an entrepreneur. Well, I can't do that if I'm continuously sitting in the house and just waiting for someone to DM me and to just send me an email. Now, I will also say that that's definitely happened. So I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just saying that if you want the universe to work with you, then you must work with the universe. It's called working with, not working for. You build a relationship with any and everybody that you want to have, and that includes God and the universe. I was actually talking to someone the other day, and it was a guy on the marketing team that I work with, and he made a comment about God and Jesus, and he was talking about how the last time he really talked to Jesus was there's something devastating happening in his life, and he didn't know if he could truly go on and all this other stuff. And he said as soon as he prayed out and called out to God, almost instantly the situation began to rectify itself. He didn't have as many issues, everything started to smooth out. And then that was it. He said everything's been great. My thing about that was, well, do you still pray? Do you still talk to God? Do you still talk to Jesus? And there are other parts of that conversation that I'm skipping over. We were talking about spiritual entities, so we weren't just talking about Jesus. We were talking about angels. We were talking about ghosts and different specters and different apparitions and things of that nature. And this particular individual has a gift of seeing spirits and seeing energy, but because of the subconscious ideals that were placed upon him in his earlier years, he had learned to just ignore them, or he tells himself to ignore it. And that's when I brought up and that's when we delve into Jesus because we start talking about the Holy Spirit and we're talking about energies and stuff like that and angels. And I pointed out the fact that anytime you're talking about Jesus or angels, we're talking about a spiritual entity. So you still talk to spirits. You just pick and choose the ones you talk to. And that's no different than when you're talking to a spirit that might be that you might be afraid of or that might be scaring you. Anyway, so like got off on a tangent a little bit there. So anyway, what I was saying is that when you're talking to Jesus, when you're talking to God, that's just another relationship. The thing about Jesus and God, angels, the upper level beings, high vibrational beings, is they will always help you, especially when you ask for them. You know, when you ask for guidance, ask for your spirit guides to come in, they'll come down and help guide you on that path. They will always be there for you. When we talk about the lower vibrational or darker negative entities, like, they are oftentimes very persistent in the sense that when you start seeing spirits, they see you too. And the negative ones, what we would consider, what a lot of people would consider negative, which are just lower vibrational energies, these particular entities will almost pester you until you tell them to go away. So with this gentleman, what I was explaining to him is you have to tell them to leave. You have to tell the spirits that they're not allowed to be around you. And anything and anybody that you encounter in your life, you have to give them permission to treat you a certain way. This goes with boundaries, and the boundaries extend to the spirit world as well. But by not setting up a boundary, you're still giving people and entities permission to interact with you in a certain way. So you have to set up the boundaries with not just physical people, but with spiritual entities and say that um, dark, negative, low vibration entities, you are not welcome here. You have to say that. When it comes to positive entities and positive people in your life, positive entities and good people, they really won't talk with you, mess with you, and be around you unless you politely invite that energy into your space. It's a very verbal interaction. You need to say that I want to have you in my space. I want to talk to my spirit guides. I want to talk to angels. I want to be able to hang out with the cool kid that I find cool. You need to be able to get out there and grow and cultivate a friendship, a relationship. Quick tangent on that. At what point as adults did it become weird to be like, I want to have a new friend. It's so funny. I just got back from Boston the other day, literally 2 days ago, and I met a group of wonderful people, and we all decided that we have to start hanging out. Now, I was in Boston. All these people live in Phoenix, so which is where I live, and we were just like, "This is ridiculous." Found out that one of the guys lives right down the street from me. This one couple, her and her husband live maybe a few miles away. We're just like, we all get along so well. Why not just hang out? If you want to have a relationship with people, you have to tell them that I want to hang out with you. I want to talk with you. And with that relationship, like any relationship, you don't want it to be you don't want the relationship to come across that every time you talk to that person, you say something negative. It's, um, or you're asking for help and you're asking for guidance because that's draining, right? We're talking about physical people. So when we look at a relationship with high vibrational entities, angels, God, Jesus, it's not that you're going to drain them of their energy because they're there to help you. That's what they're there for. But it's like any other relationship. You wouldn't go to your best friend every single time you have a problem. You would text them when something good happened. You would talk to them when something good happened. You should do the same thing when something positive and good happens in your life. This is what happens when we talk about gratitude. Be grateful for God, Jesus, spirits, angels, your guides for being there for you. Don't just go to them and show the gratitude after something happened that was negative or that was unpreferred because really nothing's negative, right? But go to them before that. Wake up in the morning with gratitude, give gratitude during the day, then go to bed with gratitude. And I promise you, though I shouldn't make these kind of promises, but I promise you that the things that are happening in your life, the positive things that are happening in your life, they will begin to manifest tenfold. It's honestly pretty crazy the way that it happens. But before I go on, we can take a quick word from our sponsors. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. Obviously, our sponsors, Chakra Wonders, check us out. We have been doing so much with Chakra Wonders lately. It's honestly pretty great. For those that don't know, we did just start selling jewelry. We have things for. I should have brought one. I did. I was not prepared for this one. So we started selling these really cool gold charms for your zodiac sign, for your Western zodiac sign, but we also have some for Chinese zodiac, and I will be creating relatively soon some more zodiac and astrology related material from different cultures. I started doing some research, I would say maybe a year or two ago, on different astrological groupings and cultural representations. And I thought it was really fascinating because the ones that most of us are familiar with, specifically in the West, is or are the Western zodiac signs. Our sun sign and our moon sign and our rising. But we're also familiar with the Chinese zodiac, but most people aren't familiar with the other ones. So I'm definitely gonna have to do I'm also gonna do a show on the different zodiacs. So even if you don't buy anything, like, which is perfectly fine, then we'll do a show. The other thing that I really want to point out with Chakra Wonders that we started doing, I have a couple things we started doing. Um, we created Chakra Wonder Studios, and what that is if you go to our site and you don't see a design that you like, you can reach out to me and reach out to somebody on the team, and we'll work on the design. I'll work on the design 'cause I draw everything, but, I'll work on the design for you, and, we'll get something created. One thing that I feel like a lot of people probably don't know is, like, I made this design. Oh, there we go, that one, and, a lot of the other, um, artwork on my stuff, we also do I would say about 80% of it is mine. And, I just started doing coaching for people. That's been going really great. There were people who were I just saw like a light flash, but there were people whom were really interested and got a lot out of my shadow work journal. Oh, here we go. I should probably like flip the camera so it's not backwards. But my shadow work inner child journal, and it's a self help journal. But then there's some people that wanted some extra guidance. So I created a type of coaching, and it's odd to call it coaching. It's more of a intuitive guidance where we sit down and go through every aspect of the journal. But most importantly, we talk about what it is that you want and how can I help you get there? How can you help yourself to get there? It's a really fascinating, interesting program. If you're interested, send me an email or a DM. And then, why do I still have this thing going? Send me an email or a DM either on Facebook or on Instagram. We could also look at my TikTok and just send some stuff out. There's not really a whole lot of time left. So there is one thing that I really wanted to talk about, and that's just being you and just being. At the beginning of this, I was talking about becoming and truly lean into just being. I don't know if it was at the beginning of this I was talking about becoming. I also did like a really short clip on TikTok right where I did this. And it's so important to sit back and write out your attributes of yourself. Who are you? Who are you? How do you see yourself? I had to take a pause because I thought about it. How do you see yourself? How do you view people seeing you? How do you want to be seen? And how do you want to see yourself? Do all those things line up? Are you the person today that you see yourself being? And if not, why is that? Write out the person that you believe yourself to be today, and then write out the person that you believe yourself to be tomorrow. And let's see how those compare. And by tomorrow, that can be literally tomorrow because it can be literally tomorrow, and or it can be whenever you're ready. So just write those things out. And it's about just being. I want to get out of this mindset of becoming. You know, Becoming is a story that you tell people when you are where you are. When people ask me how I got here and how I got to doing a show, doing podcasts, doing all the things that I'm doing, I'm telling them the story about becoming and how I became. But that's not all of the stuff that I'm talking about in the past. That's who I was because who I am today is just being myself. I am here to just be. And my goal is to help everyone else to just be them and to grow and raise themselves vibrationally and energetically. One of the things that has really been popping up to me, as always, I have notes. So, one of the things that's been popping up for me is to do the little things in a very big way. Oh, before I run out of time here, going along with doing the little things in a very big way. One aspect of what people have a problem with or what people's biggest problem is trust. And it's very important to recognize where that lack of trust comes from. And I don't remember if I'm sure I did put this into the um, my previous show, but a lot of times by the time you get older, you have get not given up, but you don't have as much trust in yourself. And because you don't have enough trust in yourself, it's difficult for you to trust others. And it's really challenging for you to trust yourself when it comes to a very large goal. For instance, if you tell yourself that you're going to do the dishes every night, but then you don't do the dishes every night, how can you trust yourself to go and do another small task? If you tell yourself that you're going to exercise and you don't exercise, you're just building up and reinforcing the fact that you can't trust yourself. If you were talking to a friend or a family member and they consistently told you that they were going to go to the gym with you, that they were going to hang out with you, that they were going to do XYZ, you know, but they never did, you would no longer ask them to do so because you don't trust them to follow through with their word. How can you trust them to follow through with their word if you don't follow through with your word to yourself? And it's just so important to do because once you're able to build that trust with yourself, you start building up a track record with yourself. So I know I can do all these small things. Now let me go do something bigger. Start with making your bed every day when you get up in the morning. Get up in the morning. Start with doing, a few push-ups. I met a lady, she is 93, 94, and she said that since she was 50, I think 50 or 55, she's done, it might have been 40, 45 to 50, I don't know, right? But she said that she's done, um, 30 push-ups, 30 or 40 push-ups a day, 30 or 40 squats a day, 30 or 40 sit-ups a day, and she goes for a walk every single morning. I think that's truly wonderful. I think that's truly magical. Um, Anyway, summing everything up, thank you all for tuning into this episode of Onion Soup. I have had a great time just sitting back, talking, and being myself this morning. And let's just be. Let's just be. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm so excited for today and for everyone and for everything. And if you need anything, any help, you just want to chat, shoot me a message. Chocolate Wonders is right on the screen there. Um, just send an email to um, you can send me actually. Dexter at chocowonders.com is actually my email address. You would think I would have that as like a pop up thingy here, but I guess I don't. So that's okay. I've had a good time with this. I'm really excited for today. I'm honestly, for anybody that curious or interested, I'm literally just meditating all day. I'll probably hop on live later on today on Instagram. I feel like if I say it here, I have to do it. So I'll hop on live Instagram later on today and just go live. It'll literally just be a video of me like meditating, probably answering some questions. But alrighty, love you all. Peace, love. Have a great one.